He thought marriage would be the happy ending, but real love was only just beginning. A sudden pregnancy, unexpected storms, and a test of strength neither of them saw coming. Would she still stay when life got harder? Or was the first chapter just the calm before the storm? Stay tuned, because you are about to watch a beautiful story filled with faith, sacrifice, and resilience. Hello, family. Welcome to Storytime Virtually. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting stories. Like and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. The morning after their quiet wedding, Noah and Zara stood in their small but cozy kitchen, still wearing the soft smiles from the day before. The sunlight poured in through the window, gently lighting up their new home. A pot of tea steamed on the stove, and the smell of warm toast filled the room. Zara leaned against the counter, looking at the gold ring on her finger. "I still can't believe it," she whispered. Noah walked over and placed a kiss on her forehead. "Believe it? You're my wife now." They both laughed softly. There was no crowd, no loud music, no big hall. But the joy in their hearts was louder than anything they had ever known. Over the next few weeks, they settled into married life. They painted one wall in the living room yellow, a color Zara called hopeful. They put small art pieces on the shelves, some from Zara's old work, some from weekend flea markets they visited together. Noah's once silent apartment now had music, laughter, and the smell of cinnamon from Zara's evening tea. It wasn't perfect, but it felt like home. Then, one morning, things changed. Zara stood at the bathroom sink, brushing her teeth. She stopped, stared at herself in the mirror, and took a deep breath. For the past week, she had been feeling tired. Not normal tired, exhausted. She felt dizzy twice and even forgot to open the cafe early one morning. Something wasn't right. That afternoon, as they walked hand in hand along the riverside, she turned to Noah. "I think something's off with my body." He stopped walking. "Are you okay?" "I don't know," she replied softly. "I just feel different." Without wasting time, they went to the doctor the next morning. Zara sat nervously in the examination room while Noah held her hand. The doctor ran tests and took samples. They waited for nearly an hour. Finally, the doctor walked in with a soft smile. "Zara, you're pregnant." The room went silent. Zara blinked. "Wait, what?" "You're about 5 weeks along," the doctor said. "Congratulations." Zara looked at Noah, her mouth slightly open. He was quiet for a moment, then softly said, "We're having a baby?" Zara nodded slowly, and then tears fell down her cheeks, not from fear, but from the surprise, from the beauty of it. She placed her hands on her belly gently. "I didn't plan for this," she said. "Neither did I," Noah replied. "But maybe life planned it for us." Back at home, they sat on the bed in silence, both deep in thought. "Do you think we're ready?" Zara asked. Noah took a breath.
"No."
"But I think we're willing." She looked up at him. "I'm scared." "So am I," he said honestly. "But I also believe that we've faced worse. We've loved through pain. We've stayed when it wasn't easy. This is just the next part of our journey." Zara leaned her head on his shoulder. "Then let's walk through it together." That night, they didn't sleep much. But not because of worry. They stayed up planning the baby's room, laughing about baby names, and promising to make it work. Zara didn't know what kind of mother she'd be. Noah didn't know if he'd be ready. But together, they knew this. They had built love on truth.
On strength.
On staying. And now, they were building something even greater, a family. The days after finding out they were expecting moved quickly. Zara began waking up earlier than usual, her body now more sensitive to smells and sounds. Some mornings she felt okay, but others were filled with nausea and mood swings she couldn't control. Noah did his best to support her, bringing her tea, rubbing her back when she felt tired, and even helping out at the cafe when she needed to rest. But as the joy of the pregnancy grew, so did the quiet fears in her heart. One evening, Zara sat curled on the couch, staring out the window. Her hands rested over her stomach, now gently rounding. "Noah," she said softly. He looked up from his book. Yes, love.
I've been thinking, she said.
What if my body can't handle everything? What if what happened before with us causes problems now? Noah put the book down and moved beside her. He could feel the weight of her words. She wasn't just talking about pain. She was talking about her worth as a mother. Zara, he said, holding her hand, you're strong. Stronger than you know. But you're not alone. If anything doesn't feel right, we'll stop. We'll ask for help. We'll do what's best. No pressure. Just love. Tears gathered in her eyes. I'm not afraid of being a mom. I'm just scared my body won't cooperate. He kissed her forehead gently. Then we'll teach it to. One step at a time. The next day, they booked an appointment with a special maternity doctor who focused on women with sensitive physical conditions. Dr. Lane was a calm and understanding woman in her 50s who took one look at Zara and said, "You're not broken. You're just human." Zara cried again. The doctor gave them exercises, relaxation tips, and even set up therapy sessions to help them feel more confident during the pregnancy. She made it clear, if they communicated and listened to Zara's body, she could carry the baby safely. This is not about pain, Dr. Lane said. It's about trust between your mind, your body, and each other. At home, Noah made more changes. He began waking up early to prepare breakfast and wouldn't let Zara lift anything heavy. At the cafe, he helped wipe tables and greeted customers with a tired but proud smile. Zara noticed it all. One day, as he stood behind the counter wearing her apron, she walked over, took his hand, and whispered, "You're already a wonderful father." Noah smiled. "Because I love the woman carrying my child." By the 5th month, Zara was glowing. Her belly was round, her smile softer, and her fears slowly fading. But just as they felt things were finally smooth, a new problem showed up. A large, fancy coffee chain opened directly across the street from their cafe. It was big,
Modern. Bright.
and it offered crazy discounts Zara and Noah couldn't compete with. Slowly, their regular customers began disappearing. The cafe that once brought them together now sat half empty. Noah paced in their living room that night. What if this place goes under? What if we lose the business right when the baby is coming? Zara looked up at him. Then we fight. Not with cheaper coffee, but with what that cafe doesn't have, heart. And so, they started again. Zara brought back her painting. She began hanging her art on the walls. They started free story nights for kids and poetry evenings for college students. Every Friday, Noah would play soft music on his guitar, and Zara would hand out free tea to the elderly. They didn't just serve coffee. They served connection. And slowly, people returned, not just for drinks, but for the warmth, the feeling of home, and the couple who turned love into a daily act of service. One Sunday night, as they locked the doors and counted the small but growing earnings, Zara leaned against Noah and whispered, "We're still standing." He looked at her, his eyes full of love. "Because we never gave up." By Zara's 6th month, the rhythm of their life was both beautiful and challenging. The cafe, once shaken by competition, was now regaining its strength. Customers returned not because of low prices, but because they felt something real, a space filled with love, comfort, and soul. Each cup of coffee came with a kind smile. Each evening had music, art, or stories. People began to say, "There's just something different about this place." But while their business grew, Zara's pregnancy entered its tougher stage. Her belly had grown heavy. She could no longer stand for long hours. Simple tasks like tying her shoes became tiring. Noah started doing most of the work at the cafe, while Zara rested in the back or stayed home. Even then, she remained part of everything, sending texts with instructions, checking their orders, and guiding the staff. At night, her body ached more. "Noah," she whispered one evening, lying on the couch, "I didn't know growing life could feel like this." He knelt beside her and held her feet. "I wish I could carry some of the weight." "You already are," she said softly, looking into his eyes. "I see it in your eyes. I feel it in the way you look at me." But a storm was coming, one they didn't see coming. One afternoon, heavy rain poured across the city. Thunder rolled through the skies, and lightning flashed behind the tall buildings. The cafe was nearly empty. Zara sat near the window with her swollen feet up, while Noah mopped a leak by the front door. Suddenly, Zara felt a sharp pain shoot through her side. She gasped. Noah dropped the mop and rushed to her. "What's wrong?" "I don't know," she said, holding her belly. "It feels different." Noah helped her breathe as they quickly got in the car and drove to the hospital. The rain made the road slippery, and Noah's hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than ever. At the hospital, Zara was taken into the emergency room while Noah waited outside, pacing, his heart racing. A nurse finally stepped out. "She's stable, but her body is under pressure. We'll need her to slow down completely." Back at home, Zara was put on bed rest. The doctor warned, "You need peace and stillness, or your body might not make it to full term." Zara felt defeated. She had always been active, creative, and full of life. But now she had to lie still. Noah set up everything: pillows, books, snacks, soft music, even her art supplies beside the bed. He took full charge of the cafe, waking up early, managing staff, and coming home late. But even with the long days and tired eyes, he never once complained. One night, Zara looked at him as he sat on the floor beside the bed, rubbing her swollen feet with oil. "You never make me feel like I'm a burden," she said, voice trembling. He looked up at her and smiled. "Because you're my blessing, and blessings are worth fighting for." In her quiet time, Zara began painting again, this time from bed. Her strokes were slower, her colors softer. She painted one special piece: a woman resting with a child in her arms, and a man sitting beside her holding her hand. She called it "Still Standing." She hung it on the cafe wall a week later. Customers stopped to stare at it. One woman whispered, "That's not just art. That's love on a canvas." Zara and Noah faced storms together: physical pain, fear, pressure, and even the challenge of staying hopeful. But through it all, they found something stronger than comfort. They found meaning. A reminder that love isn't just about the good days. It's about staying, serving, and holding on during the storms. And, despite everything, they were still standing. The night the baby came was quiet, at first. It was the middle of October. A light wind rustled the trees outside the apartment. Zara lay on the couch, her head resting on a soft pillow, one hand gently rubbing her belly. Noah was in the kitchen, making soup and humming a soft tune. Suddenly, Zara called out, "Noah!" His heart jumped. He dropped the spoon and ran to her. She looked up at him, her face calm but serious. "I think it's time." He didn't wait. The hospital bag was already packed. He grabbed it and helped her up. They moved slowly, carefully. His arm wrapped around her waist, supporting her weight. At the hospital, everything happened fast. Nurses wheeled Zara into the maternity ward while Noah stayed close, never letting go of her hand. Her labor lasted over 9 hours. Zara screamed in pain.
She cried.
She held onto the bed rails with all her strength. Noah stood beside her the entire time, sweat on his forehead, pain in his eyes as he watched her suffer, but never once stepping away. At one point, she whispered through gritted teeth, "I can't do this." He leaned down and said, "You've come this far, Zara. You are stronger than this moment. I believe in you." And she kept going. With one final push and a loud cry, the baby arrived. A nurse gently placed a tiny, crying baby girl into Zara's arms. The room fell quiet, except for the baby's soft sobs. Tears streamed down Zara's face. She looked at Noah, her voice shaky. "She's here." Noah stared at their daughter, his own eyes filled with tears. "She's perfect." They named her Nia, a Swahili name that means purpose. "She is our reason," Zara said, kissing the baby's soft forehead. "She's the proof that pain has meaning." Noah sat on the hospital chair, holding his daughter for the first time. Her tiny fingers wrapped around his thumb. His heart, once full of fear and rejection, now felt whole. He whispered to her, "You are worth every fight, every tear, every sleepless night." Back at home, everything changed. Their apartment now smelled of baby lotion and warm blankets. The nights were long, filled with soft cries, bottles, and quiet lullabies. Noah took turns staying up, holding Mia against his chest while walking her gently around the living room. Zara, though tired, never stopped smiling. Even when her back ached or her eyes barely stayed open, she looked at Mia like she was looking at a miracle. One night, Zara stood by the window, rocking Mia in her arms. The city lights glowed outside. Noah watched from the hallway, his heart full. "You look like peace," he whispered. She turned, smiling. "And you look like a man who finally knows he's enough." They decided to hang a new painting in the cafe. It was a small canvas of a baby's hand holding two adult fingers, one large, one slim. Underneath, Zara wrote, "Sometimes love is heavy, but always worth the wait." People from all over came to see the couple who built their cafe, and their family with more than just money. They built it with pain, with honesty, and most of all, with unbreakable love. Years passed like pages in a well-loved book. Zara and Noah now had two daughters, Mia, who was now 5 years old, and a younger sister named Zuri, who had just turned 2. Their home was louder, filled with giggles, scattered toys, and soft lullabies. But it was also richer in love, patience, and purpose. Noah was still designing buildings, but he worked fewer hours now. He chose only projects that gave him peace: homes, schools, community centers. His focus had shifted from building sky-high towers to creating spaces where people felt safe and seen. Zara managed their cafe, which had grown into 2 locations across the city. Customers often said they came for the coffee, but stayed for the warmth in the air and the story behind the place. One wall in every shop held their art, a mix of Zara's paintings and photographs of their journey. The most loved photo was one of Noah holding Mia as a baby, both of them asleep on a couch, a caption below it reading, "Where love chooses to stay, miracles grow." One afternoon, Noah stood on the stage of a local marriage event, invited to speak not as an architect or businessman, but as a husband and father who had a story to tell. He adjusted the microphone, looked around the room, and began. "I spent most of my early life believing I was too much for someone to love. Not because I was loud or unkind, but because of something about me that made people walk away. Every time a woman left, it hurt more deeply. It made me believe I wasn't meant for lasting love." The room grew still. Then one day, I walked into a small cafe and met someone who didn't run. She didn't judge. She asked questions. She listened. She gave me her time, her heart, and later, her hand in marriage. He looked toward the front row, where Zara sat holding Zuri in her lap, while Nia colored in her sketchbook beside her. She stayed. Even when it hurt. Even when life got hard. She stayed because love is not about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone willing. The audience was silent, many with tears in their eyes. "I used to think I was the problem," he said quietly. "But I was just waiting for someone strong enough to hold me as I am." He ended with a smile. "To anyone who feels unlovable, you are not too much. You are simply waiting for someone who sees you as enough." Later that evening, as they walked through the city holding hands, Zara looked at him and asked, "Do you still worry that I'll leave one day?" Noah stopped walking. He looked into her eyes. "No," he said gently, "because you didn't just stay once. You stay every day. In every smile, every moment, every choice to love me even when it's hard." She smiled and leaned into him. "Then let's keep staying." They reached home just as the streetlights turned on. Inside, the girls danced to music in the living room while Zara warmed dinner. Noah stood at the doorway, watching the life he once believed he'd never have. And in that moment, he knew the truth. He was never too much. He was just waiting for someone who was made for him. And now, surrounded by the home they built together, filled with laughter, art, and love, he finally understood what it meant to be chosen every single day. That brings us the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, kindly subscribe to my channel. Like, share to your friends and loved ones. And also comment what you feel about the story under the comment section. Thanks for watching.